All right, we are being live streamed, ladies. All right, welcome to Siren Song. And tonight we're going to have special guest Brett Bender. He's going to tell us about secret societies, but I'm going to have my friends introduce themselves. All right, my co-host. Go ahead, co-host. Introduce yourselves.
All right, Sarah Ashley Astrology. I am BA Fame. Good, and you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good.
Wait, is this thing on? Okay. Hi, I'm Sophia Sadie.
Okay, VA.
Let's go, witches!
Awesome. Okay, so we were like joking around before this and we were having like a really good time. And I just want to say, like, this week has been like so weird. So weird. I don't know, it's just like the weirdest energy I think I've ever experienced in a week in my life. Just like really like discombobulated. I just want to do like energy check-in. How is everyone feeling right now?
Jake, we're like both want to talk at the same time. I definitely had a really weird week. Today was fine. I woke up like really early today. I woke up at like 7 a.m., which is unheard of.
Yeah.
So I went to the gym, I ran a bunch of errands, got my whole weekend. I have a full weekend of plans and events and stuff. So I just got a bunch of stuff done today. And like, now it's like, after this, I'm exhausted. So I'm going to go right to sleep. I won't have an issue sleeping tonight. But as for the energy check-in, the days leading up before this were so bizarre. Like I was like moody AF. I don't understand what was going on.
It was like so bizarre. I think it's because like the solar flash stuff, like, I don't know if you guys have the space weather app on your phone. Do you have that, Sophia? The space weather app?
No, but I've heard of it.
Yeah. And it's like, keeps on going off like moderate solar flare, geomagnetic activity, like constant. I'm like, okay, this must be why, because like the Schumann resonance is like up, down, like up, down. And so I think that's why a lot of people feel like weird right now, like detached. I felt like very detached from just like ungrounded type of energy. What about you, Sophia? How have you been?
I've been feeling amazing. I've been just so much in a better mood and happier just because I don't know, I just feel disconnected from 3D now and I just feel like on my path and I'm so happy like to be doing stuff. Yeah.
I love that. I think maybe that's like the disconnection I'm feeling, but just like in a different way. Just like it's hard to actually transition right now from that very 3D, like, you know, that the programming that we've all been on for so long to this different 5D world where you actually have to be in alignment. It's like the universe is forcing us, all of us, to be in divine alignment. And we have no more choice to be, it's like either be in alignment or be miserable. It's like, what do you want? Like universe is saying, like, you have to be pushed out of your comfort zone. So I think like that's what a lot of people are feeling. And you have definitely been pushed out of your comfort zone and you were thriving. I love it.
Yeah, I'm so glad. I can't go back. Can't really go back once you leave. It just doesn't anymore.
No, exactly. You've been through your spiritual awakening and like you're so young, which is amazing. Because a lot of people, they don't even discover this till they're a lot older. I've noticed like a lot of people in the classes that we're teaching on the mystic arts, a lot of them are older. And I know some of it is because they have the time to take classes now, but some of it is because, you know, a lot of people, once they get to a certain age, they're like, oh, what am I doing with my life? What's the rest of my life going to look like? So it's amazing that you've discovered it at such a young age.
Yeah, it's also like the time on Earth, I feel like, because like the light's hitting Earth differently. I don't really know, but
it is. It definitely is. All the solar flares. BA.
Hi.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
So I want to talk about something like lighthearted a little bit before we have Brett come in about the secret societies.
Okay.
So I always feel like you have like the best lip gloss on. So can you tell a home audience? She's like, I can't believe she's asking me this question. That's me some heavy question. What lip gloss you're wearing tonight? Because it is amazing.
I have to tell you, so this was actually a video that I found on TikTok. It was a viral lipstick that you can actually get. I got it today, actually, at CVS. It's NYX, and the color, it's the only color that they have that's like brown. I can literally go grab it right now and just show the audience if you give me like 2 seconds, because everyone needs to try it because it's so shiny.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like amazing. I keep on looking. I'm like, it's like so shiny. Like I love the peachy color. I think it would look good on anybody. It's like that neutral, like universal color.
I wish I got this for you when I got you your lipstick when you came here, because the one I got you, I just like the packaging, but I think the lipstick just sucked, but this would look gorgeous on you. So I'm gonna go get it.
Yeah, the color was meh, but the packaging was amazing.
So fiery.
I love this. See, this is why we have this show, because we are doing a service to the public, not only spiritually, but we also want to look pretty too. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong at all with feeling good and looking your best inside and out.
Yeah, this color would look good on Brett too. So I'm sure he'll be happy to see this.
Maybe Brett's for his girlfriend. Well, we'll bring you in a minute.
I use the same one with my Juicy Couture perfume.
I have a good pheromone. I can't say it. Pheromone. How do you say it? Pheromone.
Pheromone's really good.
Thank you. I can't even say it. What's wrong with me? I'm having like cat up my tongue.
Actually, let's let Brett in. Brett, just come on in. Come on, just come on in.
I can't find
my.
Hey,
everybody.
Hey, Brett.
Hello.
We're gonna do some makeup talk for a minute. What were you saying about perfume?
Oh, I found it. Okay, so we're gonna switch over to this. Say it for me. Pheromone.
Pheromone.
I can't say it tonight. Yeah, this stuff is amazing. I've been wearing this for years, and when I used to like bartend or work in like the nightclubs, I would literally make double by just wearing this. Like, I swear to God, this is insane. It's called Pure Instinct Unisex Perfume Oil. It's the original one, and you can get it on Amazon or at your sex store. Don't ask. But yeah, it's really good.
It does smell incredible. I ordered it and it came empty, so I had to send it back to Amazon.
You said that. I'm like, what? Amazon, get your stuff together, man.
I know. So I want to reorder it. I'm afraid it's gonna happen again, but like that stuff smells bomb. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Brett, what cologne do you wear?
What was that, Sarah?
What cologne do you wear, Brett?
Oh, Sauvage. I tested a bunch at the mall, and that was the one I liked the most. And then Sarah told me, oh, Johnny Depp wears that. And then a few other girls did too. And I'm like, I have no idea. Women know more about cologne than men do. We're very simple. We're just like, oh, this smells nice. I'm going to put it on.
So good. I knew that.
Yeah, it's usually like the present you get for your boyfriend or husband for Christmas. You're like, here you go. And they're like, oh, you like how this smells? Fine. So like, I actually admire that you took it upon yourself to, you know, get yourself something that smells good and you tried it out. It's actually very admirable.
I'm grown up, you know.
You're grown up.
Yeah.
How old are you right now?
31.
Okay, so you just did your Saturn return.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I think my Saturn return was like figuring out what I wanted to do career-wise and then successfully figuring that out. And now I'm like on the right path. Cool. It's like every Saturn return that happens, it's like a checkpoint. It's like, are you going to pass this checkpoint or are you going to stay stagnant and remain the same person you were before?
Absolutely. And you'll find out again when you're 60.
Yes, right. That's when I'll come back to you.
Well, I'll be what? I'll be 68 when you're 61. So I think I'll still be kicking it. I'll still be kicking it. Yeah, we'll keep in touch. I like that.
He's the new 40.
60's the new 40. Amazing. Yeah. Tell everybody what you do for a living. I mean, we're going to talk about your expertise in the secret societies and everything, but tell people what you do for a living. It's unique.
Yeah, I own a tree removal company and I'm a climber. So I climb up in the tree and I remove it. And it's the most fun job in the world. And I love it because you have your own freedom. And you were saying before, like everyone's sort of moving into alignment. And it reminds me of that Bible passage of like, there's no more, you can't be lukewarm or else God will spit you out of his mouth.
Oh my gosh.
Hot or be cold. And like, this was my like manifestation of like hot. Like, this is exactly what I want to do. And then I went for it. And then I got it. Like, I'm now free from the 9-to-5 wagey existence that so many people are unfortunately stuck in. And so I think that's like my way to like move up to the next level, really.
Yeah, you're thriving in your gift. And like, you know, you're doing such a service for people too, because there's not many people who do what you do. They're like two chickens to do it.
Yeah, that's why it's such a good job, because not a lot of people are willing to do it. Yeah,
exactly. I love how like all of us have really come into our own in the past year. You have your Saturn return. I have my nodal return. BA and Sophia, did you guys have like any specific astrological return this year, or it just like all came into place? What do you think?
I just had my Jupiter return because my Jupiter's in Aries. So that's like good luck and like
Yes.
all that stuff. So I definitely been feeling that. So I'm really happy.
What house is that's your seventh house, right?
I have the seventh house stellium. So like all my Aries is in the seventh house. I have like 4 things in Aries.
Wow. So this means like from here on out, I feel like your relationships are going to become healthier because seventh house is about those one-on-one relationships and your soul contracts. So you're healing a lot of those soul contracts and moving into healthier soul contracts where you have more say, more authority, like you're coming into your power with those soul contracts. So I feel like a lot of your karmic stuff has wrapped up.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happened. And also Saturn was on my north node. So because Saturn's in Aquarius, my north node's Aquarius. So I had to get rid of like my karmic past life stuff.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot. That's a lot. So yeah, you just went through an intense transformation.
Yeah.
Wow. BA, what about you?
I didn't have anything happen this year for me. So I guess I'm just lucky. I don't know.
Well, I think like you went through your like big transitions before this year.
Yeah, it was, I want to say it was like 3 years ago, I think. Like 2.5, 3 years ago.
That might have been around your Saturn return then.
I think you're right. Yeah. I had it in my phone. I was just looking it up. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's when you started really stepping into your power. I
Yeah.
love this so much. Yeah.
Left my toxic ex, did everything and leveled up. So that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. We all level up so much and we're going to continue to level up because we all have each other to encourage each other. That's the thing. We won't let each other fall. And that's the thing. Like, I feel like before I came into spirituality, like if I was having a hard time, nobody would notice or even like care because they were just so wrapped up in their own shit is the truth. So this is like really nice to have such a supportive community. All right. So let's get into it. Let's get into the secret society stuff. So Brett, give us a little introduction about how you really became fascinated with the secret societies, the cabal that runs the world. I know Ishmael talks a lot about the cabal, and how they are basically, like he calls them, the dark, and there's white hats who are the light, who are essentially defeating the secret societies right now. So tell us kind of like how you got into this and then what's going on now currently. I guess we'll talk about some news stories, but just tell us how you got into all this.
Yeah, I like Ishmael. I've listened to his stuff. He's interesting to listen to. But the reason I started my YouTube channel was because finally, like, it's not really a secret anymore. Like, they're not behind the curtains, like trying to be all sneaky about it. It's so out in the open. So that's why I felt like a mission, like obligated to create a channel, following the Epstein saga. Because now there was finally something we could point to on the news for the average person who doesn't think about these things. Like, this is a legitimate thing that's going on. There's powerful people that are corrupt and they're psychopaths and they have control over our lives. And like, you can't hide from it anymore. And it's gotten to the point where like they killed Epstein in front of all of us. Like they were probably sitting around a table like, well, we're going to have to kill Epstein. He's going to talk. And they're like, well, we can't do that. And they're like, yeah, we can. No one, what are they going to do? And they're like, all right, fine. Bada boom, bada bing. And they moved some pieces together and they whacked him. And it's like, all we did was create a few memes. And then that was it. That's like all we can do. And they know that.
Yeah.
So the best thing we can start off by doing is like pointing out what's going on. So that's really why I started a channel, just to like play my part, to just kind of expose everything that's happening. Because gone are the days where it's like the Freemasons are like, oh, secretly controlling everything. We have the World Economic Forum openly telling us what they're about to do. And they're implementing those things in real time.
Absolutely. So, the event 21 happened shortly, I believe, after Epstein was offed. And it was 221. I mean, someone refresh my memory on here. I'm really bad with numbers. The one that was imitating the virus. Was it event 21? Is that what I'm thinking of?
Yeah, that was some training drill where they were testing to see what would happen if a virus occurred and how we would handle it. And it kind of went step by step of like how we actually did handle it. But at the end of the day, the average death of corona is older than the average like age to die. And yet people are still following this thing like they should still be afraid of it. And it just shows like how sheepish like the average person is.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned the World Economic Forum. It's led by a guy named Klaus Schwab. And his top advisor is a man named Yuval Noah Harari, who's the best-selling author of *Sapiens*. But, I got to hand it to him. He's a smart guy, but he knows human psychology very well. And he's had many talks, like in public, how humans are programmable. And I talk about this on my channel, how, let's say, back in like the 1950s, everyone was just watching like one little TV and their propaganda was spoon-fed to them. And there's no way to look outside of that. So the propaganda machine worked like a charm back then. You could have told people in the 1950s the moon was made out of cheese, and they probably would have believed it. But nowadays with the internet, like people are actually doing their own research, and now people are starting to think for themselves for the first time in modern history. So the controllers are like, oh, dang, our normal control mechanisms are not working. So now instead of using propaganda, they're using straight like control methods and censorship in order to really control the population, which is something we really haven't seen in the Western world for a long time, if ever. That's why we're seeing censorship all over YouTube, because that's why, even like Trump won the election, even though there was all that propaganda against him, for better or worse, it doesn't work anymore. So they got to change their tactics to something a little bit more authoritarian. And I don't know if you guys know about the Great Reset or anything like that.
Definitely read a lot about it. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
So that's them outlining what they're going to do. And it's like resisting the Great Reset is honestly like the great war of our generation. And war is like fought differently now. Nowadays, war is more like spiritual and psychological.
Definitely.
Like in the Netherlands right now, the Netherlands are in full rebellion right now. Like they're shutting down all these small farms that produce like all the meat for their area, and only allowing big companies like Tyson to produce meat. So these farmers are going out in their tractors, and it's the same thing as like the trucker convoy in Canada.
Right.
Having their own protests, but we don't see it on the news. It's like that old trope of like the revolution will not be televised.
Exactly.
Like there's revolutions happening everywhere. Like for example, in Myanmar, a year ago, there was a huge military coup that occurred, because for the longest time in Myanmar, there was like a 51% 49 split between the two ruling parties, and they would hold elections and it would be close. And it was like that since the 90s, until one group became really good friends with the Clintons. And then all of a sudden, that group started winning all these elections by a landslide.
Sounds very familiar.
Right. To the point it got so bad that the military had to take over and be like, look, no one's voting for these people, yet they still keep winning every single election. And do you want to know the voting machines that they used in Myanmar?
The same ones with that Trump
Yes, the exact same ones that we use in the United States. So yeah, it's like a lot of people think that the system is there for their benefit, that it cares about them. But it's like, no, everything's like rigged. Like people will rig NBA games. Of course, they're going to rig things that actually matter, like political elections.
Right.
It's not like, I don't think that the powers that be in the United States have more integrity than the powers that be in Myanmar. I think that it's just like everyone's polluted, like at the top.
Yeah. Like you said, it's spiritual.
Yeah.
And a lot of, I don't want to give power to this, but at the same time, it's like these people with very dark intentions promise a lot of power, right? They promise a lot of money, a lot of success. And so these other people, in these other countries, or even in this country, give into that. It's like they're essentially selling their souls in order to be in this group.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Klaus Schwab, the leader of the World Economic Forum, has openly said, he's like, I'm amazed by the amount of people in Parliament that are on our side. He's like, the Canadian Parliament, he said publicly, half of them are for the World Economic Forum. Same thing with the Netherlands. And it's like, that's why they're not respecting the wishes of their people right now, and they're just doing what they want. And it's like similar with the European Union. Do you know who's responsible for passing laws at the EU?
I actually don't know, because I feel like they must have a council or something.
Well, that's the thing, is no one knows. Like the EU Parliament, they're able to discuss laws, but they're not allowed to pass laws. The laws are passed by a committee. Who's on the committee? Like nobody knows.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And there's like suddenly all these unelected bureaucrats getting like powerful positions, and they're passing laws over people like us. So that's why I'm saying like resisting this is seriously like our great war, because Western civilization was built on the foundation of like, we have freedom. We have the right to choose what we want to do with our lives. And, you know, before I went to bed last night, I asked, I'm like, is there anything that I need to say on the podcast that I'm going on tomorrow? Mm-hmm. And one thing I got was, we have control over our own destinies, but we don't have control over the cycles that occur here. And right now is the end of a dark cycle, the Kali Yuga, which I've talked about on my channel.
Yes.
Hinduism discusses how we move through different cycles, like the Dark Age, Silver Age, Golden Age. The end of the Dark Age is the beginning of the Golden Age, Satya Yuga. And I believe Ishmael has talked about this as well on here.
He has. Yeah.
And, you know, there's a lot of different interpretations of how long the Kali Yuga is supposed to last, but I don't think there's any point in getting all autistic about it. Like, technically 5,348 years or anything like that. Because it's like, you can't put a human time frame on God's cycles.
Exactly.
Like, it happens when it happens, you know?
Exactly. I feel like we are moving into the age of Aquarius now. So that would make sense, because in between these ages, or these biblical ages, we have these very dark periods that are followed by beautiful periods. So I feel like we are right now, like at the end of the age of Pisces, going into the age of Aquarius. So that would make total sense, because humans are essentially sabotaging their own existence. You know, they're polluting their own waters. They're, you know, with the GMO crops, the transhumanism. I know you, I can't quite pronounce his name, but Ferrari. I cannot like get his whole name for the life of me, but he's a transhumanist, and it's like, he's literally trying to have humans become extinct. So it's like, we cannot get this far, you know, without killing our whole entire planet, with killing everyone.
Ferrari, he said publicly, like, there's a huge swath of the population that he terms useless eaters. And he said that the world would be a lot better place if those people were gone, because they're just sucking resources up and they're not contributing to anything. So it's almost like he's talking like a eugenicist, like openly. And you mentioned Pisces, the age of Pisces, and I'm thinking now, like, that's so similar to like the Kali Yuga. Because, you know, Pisces is like the subconscious. It's like deep, dark, can be dark, like thoughts that you have. And then the Kali Yuga is like also going inside and doing the shadow work. So it makes sense that the age of Pisces would align with the Kali Yuga from the Hindu tradition.
Ooh, very interesting. Wow. I never even thought of that. You're really like thinking very deeply about these things. Okay. So right now, you know, the CDC has changed its regulations, which I find to be very interesting. Do you feel like they're going to use the monkeypox as the next big thing, or what are we in for here?
I think they're trying to, but again, it's like their propaganda isn't working like it used to, and I think they're freaking out. It's like what I said earlier, is like, we have control over our destiny, but we don't have control over the cycles. So these controlling families, they've been so successful at like controlling their destiny, at like controlling society. But now for the first time, they're up against like God's cycle, and they don't know how to like control it. It's like because we're in the time of unveiling. That's why, like I said before, like there's no more like the society's being secret. It's all out in the open. They don't want to hide what they're doing anymore. They want to kind of align themselves with the cycle of unveiling, but make sure people are so pacified that they don't resist. And at the end of the day, like, they have a fighting chance, because the average person like lives like a slave. They really do. So for them to get their freedoms taken away, it's not a big deal to them. Like, they go and work their 9-to-5 job, answer to a boss. They have like, you know, they're not happy at home. And it's like, it's very easy to control someone like that. And the powers that be, they just want us to like pay taxes, keep society operational, and then die. That's all they want from us.
What is
terrible. Yeah. Pointless. It's like absolutely pointless. Like, I feel like they want us to be robotic, and that's where that transhumanism comes into play, because you're taking away any kind of human desire.
Yes. And it's like, I think they're really upset that there's a lot of people actually right now getting really rich off of like cryptocurrency, NFTs. And they're like, okay, how do we control this? They're like, they just want people to work like a normal wage job and then pay their taxes, and then that's it. But now there's all these people coming into their power because we're stepping into that new like 5D consciousness, and it's really upsetting them. And they're trying to move things back to where they were before, and it's just not working. Like I've said this before on my channel, like they're gonna fail. Like I really, if I'm betting, I'm gonna bet on God. I'm not gonna bet on them.
Yeah.
100%.
No matter what, the light will win. It's just like they just buy time, as much time as they can. They just want as much territory and time. But yeah, 3D is just enslavement. And when you break out of that, like that's when like they lose their power.
Right. And that's why like I resonate so much with the idea of the Kali Yuga, because I think everyone here agrees with me. We look around and we're like, this isn't how things are supposed to be at all. Like this is inorganic. This is not how like a human being is supposed to live on the land. So we have to be in some sort of like dark age right now and like climbing out of it. Because if you like research like Tartaria, ancient civilizations, and how advanced like ancient people were.
Yes.
Yeah, and how like they inundated like spirituality like with their technology too. And like they say in like the ancient texts, like during a Satya Yuga, all their leaders are like highly spiritual and wise. And like to think of like a US president being spiritual and wise is like so alien
now. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
like that, how ridiculous would that be? I couldn't even imagine it. And that's just sad.
It is sad. Yeah, it's like everyone's just very bought off. I feel like what we're living in right now is a Capricorn world. And I'll say this is a Capricorn. I reference it a lot. It's all about wealth, materialism, instead of that togetherness. And if you think about the age of Aquarius, you know, even though Aquarians are kind of weird and can be detached, it's all about community and community building. And it's like right now we have North Node in Taurus, and North Node in Taurus is all about how to live off the land organically, even though we have Uranus there, which is creating, you know, it's wreaking havoc. It's wreaking havoc on our economy. And then you see like Bill Gates and all these other people in these secret societies, or not so secret societies as you put them, like try to ruin our agriculture and natural agriculture. Like this is a time for us to start organizing and cultivating, you know, new societies. I feel like that's why a lot of people are finding their soul tribes finally.
Yes.
And someone actually asked me, sorry, Brett, you can go ahead.
I just got an idea. Go on.
Yeah, somebody actually asked me the other night, when I was teaching a class, they're like, do you think, no, maybe I don't know if I was teaching a class or I did a reading for a client. I can't quite remember. Like, do you think that, you know, we should just operate, you know, like basically telepathically, like soul family should just operate telepathically or just online rather than in person? Because when you're in 5D consciousness, you know, you can, you know, meet your third eyes and everything like that. I was like, no, you actually have to be like together in physical union, because humans need touch. We need that, you know, in-person love. We need socialization. We can't just be online and just doing this 100% of the time, or even like that transhumanist way of looking at things, like in this robot AI network. That's not going to work. We need actually, like, that's why, you know, how we procreate sexually, it's, you know, touch. So humans need to be in person. Like, what do you think about all that? Like, how is that going to all develop even with this technology?
Well, you hit the nail on the head there when you said it's all about community in the future, because if I'm not mistaken, Aquarius is the 11th house, right?
Yes, correct.
That's all about community and networking and everything. And that's the age that we're moving into. We're moving away from like the darkness of the 12th house and the difficulty there to the 11th house of like community and togetherness, and like small like farming agricultural societies, I believe, are going to be on the rise to like live outside of this beast system that's forming. Because I don't know if you know about the Georgia Guidestones, where they want to keep the population down to 500 million. And I think that would be like a monitored, like kind of police state where they would keep the population, but then there'd be like tribes outside of it, like Aldous Huxley talked about in A Brave New World. Like civilization is splitting. And we hear that in the spiritual community too, with like New Earth and Old Earth. And like a split is about to happen. Absolutely. And there's been like mediums that like keep seeing these visions of like two Earths like on top of each other in the future. Like there's several people that have discussed the same vision, where it's like a split that literally like occurs here.
Yeah, I've seen it too.
Frequency.
Go ahead. Sophia, were you saying something? I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I just feel like it's like a light grid. Like I feel like right now there's like pockets, like different parts of the world, people are awakening and going to 5D, and then like soon as more and more people awaken, it will like create a light grid and we'll be all on that like 5D grid. I don't know how to explain it, but that's how I like visualize it.
Yeah.
Right. That made me think of something else too that I heard recently. So living off grid is not possible anymore with the way technology is. So the way to like resist now is to live on as many grids as possible. So to like get a passport to several different countries in case like one country you're in, it's like, oh, it's too authoritative and like they're silencing my speech, just move to another area. And like that can be done easily with like ancestry, like, oh, prove I'm slightly like Dutch so I can move to the Netherlands.
Yeah. I completely agree. I think also, when we find people who are like-minded, we need to keep in mind, like everybody has a different job. Everybody has a different role in a community. And we have to like, also like keep in mind of other people's strengths and their weaknesses so we can build community instead of just looking to these hierarchies, these government hierarchies to do things for us.
Right.
It's just so important to recognize that.
And
right?
I love what like certain foreign people do. Like there's this one guy I know who's like Pakistani and he has a Ferrari. And the way he makes like 60,000 a year. And the way he affords that is he combines the material wealth of his entire family in order to like buy like a nice house, a nice car, stuff like that, which is something that like people in the West don't really do. Like I keep my money separate from like my sibling, but it's like I should like combine it more like these other families do. And I think maybe that we're going to see that more in Western civilization of families really sticking together because like we have to. I mean, the price of houses right now is crazy.
That's absolutely true. Actually, like when I was looking for a house a couple of years ago, and we're looking at some newer houses, they're like, well, this house is made to have, like multi-families, but they all live in the same house. It's not like there's apartments like, this upstairs, downstairs, like there used to be years ago. It's like they all live in the same house. It's like the grandparents live in this section and then the parents live in this section, even though the houses weren't that big, they were like, 2,000 square feet, like an average, American size home for like a family of four, but building them in such a way where, the grandparents could live there because people are combining their wealth together. And also they need that help, especially if both parents are working, people need that help.
Yeah, and we need to start like looking out for each other more because things are getting a lot better, but they're going to still like keep applying pressure, more and more pressure on us. Like Biden just signed something that he put in 87,000 new IRS agents. And
how is he going to find it? They can't even find people to work at McDonald's.
Right. And then they're arming them too. Like on the job application, it's like you will be trained with a firearm and taught how to use deadly force. And it's like that's what we're like dealing with. That's like their like pathetic attempt to try to like control us more. And it's not going to work. Like government isn't able to do anything efficiently.
Yeah. And it's a lot about like Venmo transactions because they know that throughout the pandemic, people have found side hustles and their like main hustle.
And that's what I was saying before is like they're so pissed at all these people like stepping into their power and making so much money right now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. They want them like back on their dumbass 9-to-5 job. And I'm like, not trying to make fun of anybody who has those jobs. Like people need those jobs. I get it. You got to feed your family, got to eat, whatever. But like, a lot of us who like, just like I said, no, I'm not going to be a teacher anymore. And I'm not like dissing teachers. I think they're amazing, good for them, but I couldn't do it anymore. Like I was dying inside, like I was decaying within. So it's like, I found this and I totally just went for it because I knew it was my gift and so many amazing things happen. And I know I'm not alone in that. I'm totally not alone. There's people like you, who, cut down trees for a living. There's people who do all sorts of jobs that we can't even think of that make our world operate. And they just want to like go in and punish all of us. Essentially,
that's a great thing too about like tree work is like they're always going to need that. The controllers are going to need people to like get the trees away from their buildings or else nature will retake the system, like society.
It might actually not be so bad.
Right, because the controllers still want to ride around their yacht and their supercars, so they need society to function. They still want to be served food and everything.
Sure.
So they need us to like keep working for them.
Yeah, we saw that during the pandemic when they closed down all the restaurants, and then Gavin Newsom and all of his buddies were at that fancy restaurant. I forgot exactly what it's called, but it was like some 5-star restaurant, and they were there. They opened it especially for them. So I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah, and it's like I feel like most people don't understand because most people are like really good, so they don't understand that a lot of people in power are like psychopaths. They don't know what they're up against. Like Klaus Schwab, I saw like an interview of him, and it was in his office, and he had a statue of Lenin right behind him. I'm like, wow, like you must really respect this guy who was responsible for the Red Massacre, killed over 1 million people for political reasons. And then
and he's Eastern European too. So I mean, I'm sure he's from a Soviet bloc country.
Klaus Schwab is from Germany.
Okay.
Yeah, and he might be Swiss too. Yeah, I don't know his whole story, so maybe.
Sounds like, but he sounds Eastern European. I believe you that he's German. I believe you. He has that accent, like that thick villain.
Yeah, and he dresses like a Bond villain too. And it's like people are so predictable. So like Harari is his best friend. So like I guarantee you I can find on the internet Harari praising Vladimir Lenin because they think the same. I Google it and like Harari had this passage where he's like said, oh, Lenin had a brave idea for a brave new world. And he was just like talking him up. And it's like, you guys are so predictable. And that's why like researching this stuff like really isn't that hard if you put your mind to it. If you like make it, it's for anything. If you make an intention out to the universe to like figure something out, the universe will give you like information to show you that it's true.
What just jumped on your table?
I almost knocked over my water bottle.
Confirmation. Water bottle.
Confirmation. This one time, Fred and I were doing a live about Aleister Crowley. We're looking at his chart, and my phone jumped in the air. And I'm like, "That's it, I'm out. We're never talking."
That was awesome. Yeah, no, I was mentioning Pan, that dark god, and right when I was like getting really into the story, your phone went bam.
Yeah, it was like up in there and bam. It was crazy. It was like, it wasn't just like a regular vibration where it just kind of goes like a little bit off. No, it was like up and down.
That's our goal for every video we do together. A paranormal event needs to occur.
Yeah, we haven't done a live in a while, so this is cool. We'll have to do another astrology investigations because you have like oh my gosh, you just like know about the most esoteric, like wildest stuff. And I'm like, oh, cool, let's talk about that.
Yeah, we get good feedback from our videos. Like people message me and say they're great, so it's fun. It
is. Okay, so I just got completely off track because of the water bottle incident. See, that's what happens. I think I have adult ADHD, guys.
We all do.
Yeah. I know. We're talking about Klaus Schwab, Dr. Evil. Like, I feel like that all these movies, even though they're funny, it's like predictive programming.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't like watching movies. They definitely program you. The stuff behind like all of Edward Scissorhands and all those type of movies are like really creepy, and Beetlejuice, like, and like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, all of them have like really creepy like backstories about what they're really about.
Right? So, yeah, all the Tim Burton movies are like CIA corrupted. I believe it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I can't stand watching anything on Netflix now because Netflix is just filled with that.
Yeah. It's crazy. You don't see, I think up until like 3 years ago when I had my awakening, that's when I really started noticing it. I never noticed any of it before, the symbolism in the movies, all that stuff. And now it's all I see. And now it's like just makes watching TV miserable.
It does. So much programming, like, and it was called programs before. Like I remember my grandma saying, "I'm going to watch my program," which is like for some operas, "I'm going to watch my program." It's like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's programming. Like not all TV is bad. That's not what we're saying, but like there's definitely some not so subliminal messages in a lot of these productions that I've noticed.
Yeah, but people keep consuming them, so they keep making them. And the thing is, it's weird. Like when Disney will release a new movie, recently it like flops, like Marvel, like it flops, but they keep making them because it's not about making money. Disney and Marvel, they have enough money. It's about like putting a message out there. They just want like the message to be put out there. It's not even about profit. It's like so many people when they like first get into like quote unquote conspiracies, they're always like, oh, it's all about money. It's all about money. But there's like something like darker going on in this world. It gets to a point where it's like power is more seductive than cash is. And I think that's like really the reason why these controllers like implement all this control is because they're bored. It's like after a while, like they're bored driving their yacht. Even sex would get boring for them. And they're like, the only thing that really gets them off is power. Like having this, the ability to control large populations.
Yeah.
Right. It's like,
there's like two different forms of power. There's like light and there's dark. So I feel like it's just like once you get down to like the core of it, it's just like darkness versus light. So they try to keep us away from our true nature and like from God, which is nature and natural things. And they invert everything into darkness. Like I've heard a lot, the only way, even though people will hate to say this because there's a huge like movement of whatever happening right now, like the only way really is like divine union, like out of like darkness is like divine union between like masculine and feminine, but they're like pushing the opposite of that. So
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've talked about like divine masculine feminine on my channel as well, and I think that's a major issue in the West right now, is like the lack of masculinity. People are like, no, the issue is toxic masculinity. It's like, no, I think it's a lack of it, really.
That's sure. But the toxic masculinity, Brett, is actually the lack of masculinity. That's
Yeah,
what I feel. Because a lot of these, guys who are like walking around all macho and everything, they don't work. They don't know how to control their tempers. Like that's not masculine. Masculine is like the ability to make money, the ability to control
right.
your.
Yeah, Sarah, I'm reading a book right now called King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, and it's all about masculine archetypes and stepping into your divine masculine. And one of like the dark archetypes is that of the tyrant. It's like, or the high chair tyrant of like the little baby, like Joffrey from Game of Thrones, who's like, mommy, give me more food, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like that's something we see a lot in our society, of men just like being over emotional and like throwing things and like being mad at everybody. Yeah, and that's like an immature version of masculinity. And like it's hard to become like a man, because like to become a man, like you have to like actually go through trials to become that. In our society, they've completely gotten rid of initiation rituals.
Yes.
Like in societies, it's like, all right, at 13, you're going to be put through this grueling trial, but then after that, the community is going to respect you as a man.
Yeah.
Now it's just completely nebulous, and we don't know how to like make that transition.
Right. Even in sports now, it's like you can't lose. It's like, what's that all about?
Yeah, participation trophies. I remember getting those as a kid, and it felt terrible receiving it. That's all I was able to get in my sports games too, is participation. So, I'm like, this ain't even worth it. Like,
Poor Brett.
yeah.
What sports were they? Now we want to know.
Soccer. I remember stopping a game because I found a ladybug. I didn't want anyone to step on it. The parents thought it was cute. The kids were all pissed at me. I remember their faces. Like, they were mad.
We're spiritual even then.
I guess it's just, yeah. And that's what I feel like now, is like, I'm not even like conspiratorial. I just like point out things that are public knowledge. And I'm like the kid that calls out the emperor with no clothes on. Like, that's all I'm doing, is like, this is obviously happening. I'm just going to say it out loud. And yeah.
I love that. I love that you're doing it, because I feel like a lot of people on here who are doing it say with such anger, and I don't want to listen to that. If I say his name, then our YouTube channel might get erased, but I'll say AJ. I think everybody knows who I'm talking about, who has been a big voice about all this stuff for years, about all the secret societies. I mean, he was just ripped to shreds with the Sandy Hook case, but
I don't know.
yeah, I don't want to get into all of that right now, but the reason why I turned him off, in the past couple of years, is the anger, the venom that comes out when these messages are delivered. I don't feel like it's spiritual anymore. I don't
No,
feel
it's not. AJ is all about fear porn, because fear porn sells. It really does. My heart goes out to the guy, because he is funny. Like, outside of his show, like when he's hanging out with like Rogan and stuff, like he's honestly hilarious.
Yeah.
He does have that lighthearted nature about him. He does have that human spirit, which I can't say the same about the people that are like really like throwing the books at him right now.
Yeah. It's terrible. It's disgusting. It's because they wanted to silence him so other people like us, would shut up and be afraid.
Yeah.
Which we're not gonna do that ever.
Yeah, like there was a total kangaroo court from what I read about his trial. Like, it was all televised, but the judge herself had a button and would cut the live feed when it was his turn to talk, and only film when the other side was talking.
See, this stuff is like straight out of like a bad
dystopian novel.
Yes, that too, or like a Marvel movie.
Yeah,
like the button. It's just so like.
It's like Hunger Games,
Yeah.
And the judge had like blue hair too, which is like same with Hunger Games.
Rocky has something to say about it.
Yeah. Rocky's a big AJ fan.
I know. It's so funny. Whenever, like, that's crazy with the button that would cut off the feed. I remember the first time I heard about like these buttons that these weirdo elite people would use. It's like, it came out with the Me Too with Matt Lauer, how he'd have like a button under his desk so it can like basically like lock women in his office and like assault them. It's just like, what is this? Like, what kind of disgusting like movie is this?
Back to what I said before is like power is the only thing that really gets them off. Like they're done with money. They're like, okay, I can get like basically create money out of thin air, you
Right.
know? So they're just like power is the only thing that they care about.
Instead of helping people, because with all that money that they have, they can help so many people. They can, you know, they're always telling us like, please give to this charity, or please don't, you know, use your car and use up all this gas because you're contributing to, you know, an environmental tragedy. It's like, well, what are you doing? What are you doing to give all this money and you're doing dark, horrible things instead of like, you could buy, you know, probably hundreds of people homes, feed and clothe and educate hundreds or thousands of people.
Yeah, the controllers are using private jets. It costs like $50,000 to use a private jet. Like it's insane. And like they tell us like, oh, if you pay more in tax money, we're able to change the temperature of the earth. And it's like, no, you can't. You can't even stop the spread of a virus, you know? So how are they going to control the temperature of the earth? Like I care. I love the planet. Like I think the main issue though is like pollution and like keeping our water like clean. But then they say like the main issue is like carbon dioxide emissions, which is like the boogeyman for them. But it's just an excuse to like monopolize energy industries and then raise taxes. Like that's all that they're using it for.
I completely agree. And you know, like you live near a Great Lake. I'm not going to disclose where you live because there might be some female stalkers. You never know. We don't want to, or maybe you want them. Maybe you want them. I don't know. Do you want me to say where you live?
I live in Cleveland. It's not a big deal.
There you go. Go find Brett near Lake Erie somewhere. Anyways, but like in our Great Lakes, it's been so polluted with PFAS, you know, and it's like, it's never going to come out of the water. It's never going to come out of your body. And it's like, basically, I think comes from like flame retardants, and nobody wants to do anything about that. Yet, like we're supposed to just like not drive our car. It's just, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. The price of gas like sucks. That's why I bought a Jeep instead of another truck, because I'm trying to save money for gas, you know?
Yeah. I like the Jeep. It looks nice. I saw it once.
Yeah. Good.
All right. So any like, I guess, what do you see happening and then in the next couple months here? Because not only do you know about all the secret society stuff, or not so secret society, but you're an intuitive astrologer too. So what do you see happening in the next few months, you know, before 2023 hits? Any predictions?
I keep seeing like this number, like 2025, like is the year that like things like really change. And I just feel like that's the year where people like wake up like, okay, the world isn't what I think it is, and they can't like hide from it anymore. I think it's like there's going to be a big wake up call in that year. You know, who knows though, but in the next few months, I don't know, I just live day by day, really. When I look at someone's, like, what I love about astrology is looking at someone's birth chart. Like I just love looking at that and just seeing like why they are the way that they are. Like I was at a bar the other night, and there was this female lawyer, and I read her birth chart.
I love it.
A bunch of stuff in her second house, like dark transits. And I'm like, you feel like you need money in order to be happy. And I kept like kind of playing on that. And she was like crying. I heard that.
Did she buy you a drink?
What? I didn't buy her a drink or anything.
No, did she buy you a drink?
No. It wasn't like a romantic thing. I wasn't like that into her or anything.
It doesn't mean romantic. She owes you a drink for at least like that therapy. That's like some deep therapy.
I didn't need anything. It was just fun. It's fun for me just to be able to do that, you know. So yeah, that's like, I'm just not good at like reading transits of like predicting things. I think only God can really like tell us what's going to happen in the future. I have no idea what's going to happen.
Interesting. Yeah, I think we all look at things slightly different, but all the same. It's coming from the same source. So I love that. I love that so much. Wow. Any final questions for Brett, ladies, before we get on out of here? Let him go to bed before he climbs trees the next day.
Yeah, past my bedtime.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Have you fallen out of a tree?
No, thank God. We attract what we fear, and I don't have a fear of heights. And I think that's what's protecting me.
Interesting. We attract what we fear.
I have a question. How long have you been doing astrology?
Maybe like just a year, basically, but like I really got into it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I took honestly Sarah's classes too, and she's just a great teacher. I mean, she was a teacher before she got into this too.
You're an A+ student. You're my number one student. I'm serious. Brett, right away, he called to everything. I'm like, would you like to teach this class, Brett? He's like, oh.
Well, yeah, because I go through phases where I just love researching very specific things, and that's what helped me out. So yeah, I love chart reading. I want to get more into it for sure.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, you're always you're welcome to take more classes with me. You know that. TheMysticArts.org. Shameless plug. TheMystic.org. Sophia and I are teaching astrology together right now, and I'm still teaching with Taylor. And BA and I are going to take teach a psychic clairvoyance class. So we're looking forward to that, and we'll incorporate some astrology in there too. Anyways, you were wonderful. You are welcome back anytime on this channel.
I'd love to come back. Hell yeah.
Yeah, this was great. And we'll definitely have to do another astrology investigations sometime. I've been slacking on the astrology investigations. There's been a lot of deaths lately, Brett. People have to pick a dead celebrity out of it.
Yeah.
Which one do want to tackle?
Even like living ones would be interesting. Like we haven't done like Kanye West yet or anything.
I know. Yeah, he's very interesting, very fascinating. I feel like I don't know. It's almost like he's playing a joke on us.
Yeah, that's what I like. It's like a lot of these like high profile guys, they have this air of mystery to them. It's like, are you like for real right now, or are you playing a joke? Like Trump is like that. Kanye West is like that. We can't really like they point a finger to what they're all about, you know.
Because we're both Geminis.
Yeah, Geminis. Yeah, and that's why we need to do an astrology investigation to figure them out.
Okay, we'll do it. It's on before the summer's over, Brett. I promise you, we will do another astrology investigations. How about that?
Okay.
Okay, awesome. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. All right, guys. Brett has a YouTube channel. Go ahead and plug your YouTube channel, Brett, before we get out of here.
It's just my name, so Brett Bender on YouTube.
Yeah.
And
awesome. Yeah, his videos are great. He knows all about Epstein. He's an Epstein expert, and with other secret societies too that are not so secret anymore. So check them out, and I'll link them down in the description box. All right, everybody. Actually, Sophia BA and I will be back on Thursday night on this channel on the Mystic Warrior with Ishmael and Taylor, where the divine feminine and the divine masculine have YouTube union. That's all. It will be in YouTube union. Whatever that means, on this channel. And I believe it will be at 6 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Sorry, I swapped it. 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on Thursday nights. BA is telling me yes. She is giving me the yes and the nod, which means correct. Anyways, yeah. So check us out on there, and don't forget to book with us on themysticarts.org to learn all about any kind of esoteric mysticism that you were interested in. Don't forget to check out Brett's channel. All right, everybody, have a wonderful night, and we'll talk soon. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.